Hi, I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Olfner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hopefully.
Hey, welcome back again, tennis fans. By this time, you will have probably watched our ATP predictions reaction video, and now we're on to the WTA. I was a little bit smug, let's say, in the ATP one, but in this one, I feel that it's going to be a complete role reversal. My cheeks aren't rosy because I'm embarrassed already. Just been having a glass of red. And it seems to just be warming up in here. But I got a feeling it's going to get a little bit hotter, JJ.
Yeah, I'd pour that wine down the sink and get something a little bit stronger, Ben, because you're going to need it for this episode. No. I gave you a good one, though, on the ATP. But this one is going to be a lot easier for me because I feel your knowledge of the WTA circuit is extremely subpar. And this goes back to all of the draw previews we've ever done. You've never beaten me on any season. Looking at last year's predictions, you didn't come close. And it seems to me you always get very wrapped up in the moment of the WTA. You believe in players who you think are going to win and they shouldn't win. You get very hyped on sort of the likes of Serena and Halep 1 year at Wimbledon. Both went out first round. And then you get sort of enthralled in some of the young talents who aren't ready yet. But anyway, there's plenty to get into. We obviously know some of the famous ones of the past. Sophia Kenin he's had as world number one. But I think this one is arguably better. So, strap in everyone and get ready because this is our WTA 2023 predictions reaction show. And like
pour
Ben
another
said,
glass quickly. I think I need it.
like Ben said, we've just done the men's one. We'll pop the link for that in the comments section if you've not watched it already. But let's get started, Ben. Do you remember what your top 10 was?
I can't remember the exact order, but I have an idea of who's in there. And I remember me being very bold, and that's the word I would use to describe my predictions. And I remember you being very conservative, which was not normally like you. So we sort of just swapped positions, but we're going to see how we both got on. Were there any good bold predictions? That's all I want to know from me. Probably not.
When you say bold, do you mean reckless?
Well, you can
do you
dress
mean
it
uneducated, lack of knowledge? Is that what you mean by bold?
I think you can
Or do you
dress
have a
them
different
up
definition?
either way, really. I mean, there's being bold, there's being brave, or there's a fine line between brave and stupid, as we know in the any sporting world. Making picks, you have to be brave sometimes. And I thought I was making an educated guess on some of these. Some of them were a big punt, I'm not going to lie. Some were a punt, some were an educated guess. And the punts have really punted me in the backside.
Yeah, you say there's a fine line. Let us know in the comments section. Has Ben crossed that line? I believe he has. Let's get straight into it. So this is the WTA top 10 rankings. On the left-hand side, you're going to see the actual rankings and how it finished. And then you're going to see mine and Ben's predictions.
Might start drinking out of the bottle now.
At the end of 2022 for 2023. Right, let's go. Whoop-oh. So the actual rankings was Iga snatched it right at the end. She ended number 1. Sabalenka 2, Gauff 3, Rybakina 4, Pegula 5, Jabeur 6, Vondrausova 7, Mukova 8, Sakkari 9, Krejcikova 10. And it wasn't too long on the men's one where Ben started bringing up these sort of fandangled quotes with my face on it and nice captions and colours and great work on Photoshop. I'll be interested to see if we have any for this chart because it's very difficult to find many. I mean, looking at mine instantly, I've just seen 2 greens there. Calling Maria Sakkari, getting her exact position right in number 9. And Iga.
Impressive.
That is, listen, I'm a Sakkari specialist. What can I say?
Well, you and John Silk have been going back and forth on the Jabeur-Sakari debate for, I think, a couple of years now, and I'm not sure where it's going to end up. I feel like you're both going to swap positions soon and then be supporting the
Never
other
that.
other player.
I've always got Jabeur a little bit higher, and she's done it again. And maybe that's a good starting point. Let's get straight into it. So the first bone I want to pick with you is where is Ons Jabeur?
Yeah, that was the big one, wasn't it? Took a real big punt.
No, it's not the big one, Ben. I think there's a big six.
Okay, so that's
and I'm not talking about the Premier League.
Are they a big six these days? Yeah. Anyway, I have to hold my hands up. I took a real risk and knocked Ons Jabeur out of the top 10 because I thought, how is she going to possibly match that great year she had, getting to both Grand Slam finals, Wimbledon and the US Open? I thought that there was going to be a drop-off. And I was wrong. Ons Jabeur still looked good in the big tournaments. She wasn't as good, but she was still good enough to stay in the top 10. And yeah, I mean, the Wimbledon, if she'd won Wimbledon, then that would have been amazing. That would have been the icing on the cherry on the top of the cake for her. But she showed some fragility in that final mentally. So
the next one I want to have with you is this. So Jessica Pegula, she got all the way to the final of the WTA Tour Finals.
Yeah.
She wasn't even inside your top 10. She finished 5th overall. I think that is highly, highly disrespectful of yourself. I mean, how can you not see that Jessica Pegula over the course of a season is going to have enough consistent tennis to be inside the top 10? Granted, I don't have her that high. I've got a number 8, but she's always going to be inside the top 10. It's crazy to me that on the men's we've just done, you thought Nick Kyrgios could be inside the top 10. One of the most topsy-turvy players who hardly plays any events, and you don't know what Nick Kyrgios is going to get. With Pegula, you get a good level. She beats all of the mediocre players and loses to some of the better ones. That's enough for a top 10 ranking. Where is your tennis knowledge? You do a podcast, Ben. You're supposed to be a tennis analyst who brings expertise to the table, and at the moment all I'm seeing is good memes and shorts and editing skills. I'm not seeing any tennis.
This is something good.
I'm not seeing any tennis knowledge, and I'm very disappointed. Would you like my point 3, or do you want mine?
Wow, it's going to be tough with this conservative pick that you had here. I mean,
it's very good.
The only one that I can really go in on, which is one which you just threw in there, hoping that she'd have a good year, which was Paula Badoza. And this is probably where you're going to use the defence, which I've tried to use for Nick Kyrgios, to save Paula in number 10, where she finished at, 65 in the world.
Not using that as a defence at all.
What's her defence?
It's out by 55, not the end of the world. She did
close.
Okay. Pretty close, not terrible. I mean, if you look at, we're not getting onto your 4, 5 and 6 yet. I will be getting there very soon. But with Paula Badoza, it's not that bad. You've just had a 1,000 on Nick Kyrgios, put that in perspective. And seeing as we are there, let's speak about, I believe this is number 4 now for you. And I'm going to go with Andreescu. She's 90. She finished 96 in the world. And you had her inside your top 10. Another player who we know does not bring consistent tennis. She can play one good event and be terrible for a while. Injury-prone players, why are you picking them? It seems farcical, Ben, that someone would be picking injury-prone players for their top 10. And you say I've been conservative. Maybe I'm just being smart. I've picked players who I believe who can play a duration of a season and do well. What have you done with Andreescu? Shambolic. Defend yourself. Put your hands up and say you're a fraud. Tell us all now.
Well, with Andreescu, in my defence, she had a good year. The last year,
What did she say?
She ended the year at number 40. She ended the year last year at 40. I think it was something like 45, 46, something like that. But
that's good.
She made it. She went from 45 down into the hundreds and then got back all the way at the end of the year, took back to that 46 again. So I thought she's on the up again. If she avoids injury, she's going to be playing well in the top 10 maybe again. But
just a moment.
as we know,
just a moment.
she had a backing. Oh no, not these guys again. Back again.
Top 10.
Oh, but she had a back injury anyway, and I feel really bad for Bianca. I hope she has a very speedy recovery, and we don't get to see any of this in 2024. But as we know, she is injury prone. It was a risk. It was more of a hope than anything that one of the best players in the women's game could come back to the top, and unfortunately, it didn't pay off.
Yeah, real stinker, that one. Moving on to number 5. And this one is Linda Fruhvirtova. Finished 93, just inside the top 100. You went with a young talent. You thought you'd be a bit brash and brave. Oh, look at me. I'm going to have a young talent inside the top 10. I really know my tennis. Not good enough. Too early. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, this one...
It's a flop.
As I said before, there's some that are going to be a punt. And this one was a massive punt.
Inside the top 10?
I know.
You went really big. I do
one,
admire the courage a little bit on this one.
It's not. This one's the one you should be kicking me more than Kyrgios, I feel. This one, I'm a bit disappointed. It's definitely too early for Fruhvirtova. I'm so big on the Czech
18
hype.
years old, I think, now.
If you look at it.
17 when she was playing most of last year.
In theory, I was sort of right with the Czech players because we've got Mukova and Vondrousova.
Oh, right.
So, but if we look at Badoza, she finished, 65th? And then we look at Fruhvirtova, what did she finish in the end? 93. There was only 147 points between them, really. It's not that much. It's like, what, one good tournament?
150 points is 150 points, and for me, that is another stinker. Let's line up for stinker number 6, unless you've got anything you want to say about my brilliant picks. I mean, Gauff out by 1, Rybakina out by 1, Jabeur out by 2, Samsonova not too bad. Saw some hope there. Saba's out a bit. King Wing Zheng a lot better than your one. Sakari spot on, and you've already spoke about Badoza. Very good. Gives me a total of 85. But let's get to the real moment everyone is waiting for.
What? We're not going to speak about Krejcikova here for a second, please.
Yeah, we will do, Ben. But just pause this for a second, because this is the moment everyone's waiting for. I've got an image behind me.
Right, here we go.
Because this is one of my favourite tennis players, and she's given me a lot of laughs this entire year. I mean, she was someone you was really, really gunning for. You had her doing well in Grand Slams, Australian Open success. She had it all, Anisimova. She did post a very cryptic message on social media, which she then deleted after about 10 minutes after she's lost interest in all tennis. But you still went with it. You thought, I can do this.
I didn't read that before doing.
I did read it. I remember at the time because I did say it to you. I thought it was laughable then, and I think it's even more laughable now. She finished 367th. She hardly won a match all season. Hardly played. Not interested.
Really
She's been having a few issues. I don't even know if it's injury based.
No, it's not.
And I see her on yachts. She's having a great time holidaying, partying. Doesn't want to be playing tennis. And you had her inside your top 10. So, this is for you, Ben.
I like it. Oh, I got it twice. It's got it on the loop.
One more. There we go. So yeah, this is how I feel about the whole Anisimova saga. I think it's maybe edges the Kyrgios one. I
think it's worse than the Kyrgios one.
I think it could be the worst one we've ever had. I'm not sure if it's worse than Sofia Kenin, but that's maybe up for debate. But this is a real stinker. Ben. What do you have to say about picking Anisimova?
Well, it sort of reminds me of your Muguruza pick after she went on holiday for the rest of the year last year. That was an interesting pick of yours. She disappeared. There she is. That's a good face she's putting. She should be putting a worse face than that, I'm telling you. She played.
Wrong, Ben.
She played 12 matches and won 3 of them in 2023. And she took an indefinite break from tennis in April in 2023. And she's now gone back to school. So I don't know what's going on. She's gone to college. She's not even doing it anymore. It's not. That's it. That's not even in her thought process. She's going to study, and all the best to her. Really. I mean, she was a real talent. She beat Osaka. I remember at that slam. It was exciting. I was on the hype train, and she sold me a dead horse. That's all I can say on that.
Can you just confirm where you had her in your rankings, just for the audio listeners?
For the audio listeners, it was number 7 in the rankings there, and she finished at 367 with, was it 6 months, no tennis. Shocking. Should have to wear a hat for that one, I think. Like a
Well, I am
going
to get you a Nissimova t-shirt for Christmas, so hopefully you can wear it on some future episode.
I've got a few t-shirts for you.
But yeah, there we go. That sums up the top 10 predictions. I think it's fair to
one
say.
sec. I don't think we... Whoa.
I did obliterate Ben.
Why are we summing it up? We've got to at least look at something that went right for me in this one, which is something that you didn't get right, which was Barbora Krejcikova. She actually made it into the top 10. And that was something that you ridiculed me for on that predictions. And you actually said this. It is a disgrace putting her in your top 10. She's a doubles player. You went on to say some more stuff about she probably won't even play more than about 3 events in the whole year. And when she does play an event, I'm going to be gunning for you in all the draw previews. So that's what you said. Do you hold your hands up? She's not just a doubles player. She's actually a very good singles player.
She's a very good doubles player. Doesn't do too bad in the singles. How many events did she play all year? More than 3, probably 6. Was it? How many?
Well, she made it to the top 10. That's all.
How many was it? It wasn't too many, that's for sure.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Boy, if it's less, even better for her. It means she's even better singles player. Anyway.
Right.
On to the next bit then. On to the slam predictions. This should be even more fun.
Yeah, this is where it really does come to life. Some of your predictions. Need to find the right bit. So I believe it is number 11. So the women's Grand Slam predictions. So let's go back to our thinking at the end of 2022. Who did we have for the Australian Open? Was it a real talented player? Was it one of the big 3? We've got Rebecca, Sabalenka, Iga. They'd be the sensible picks, of course. Was it Raducanu? I know Ben really does like her. It was close to going inside his top 10, but didn't. And opted for Anisimova. So
Homer Simpson.
this was a gif on my one. He's got him going back into the bush because that will be Ben with his Amanda Anisimova pick. I did go for Iga. Unfortunately, she didn't win the Australian Open.
Maybe I can do it like this.
Did you get to the semis?
Here we go. Can I go? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Ben going back into the bush there. And he comes
That's
back
my
out
version of it.
So yeah, Sabalenka winning, and I think that really did set the story for the year. Neither of us expected Saba to have such a good year like she did, because there's always a few issues with unforced errors on her serve, but she was outstanding all year, and it sort of started off with Australian Open victory.
Yeah, isn't it typical? We both picked her the year before to win the Australian Open, then we both didn't pick her to win the Australian Open, and of course she won it. Yeah. Your pick was, where did she get to in Australia? Round 4, I believe it was.
Was it?
Yeah, went out to Rebecca, that's right. I believe it was. Anisimova went out first round, wasn't it? I think
Marta Kostyuk, I believe, straight sets.
Terrible. And let's just remind us all of my pick to win in the draw preview while we're here. I'll pile it on. It was Kudermetova, who also went out in the first round. So a double whammy. I might as well shoot myself in the foot and the other foot while I'm
and in the draw preview, I did predict Sabalenka. So just to make it even worse. So the next one, we've got Roland Garros. And it's a winner.
I like it.
It's a winner.
Winning.
Hashtag
winning.
We both went for Iga. I told you it took me some time, this PowerPoint.
Nothing more you can say about that one. That one, I think most people probably picked Iga. We both got it right. on to
And
the
maybe
next.
we should say well done to us in the live chat, or not the live chat, in the comment section. We actually
Yeah.
got something right. This is a good one.
Cheers.
On to the next one. This is a very difficult one to call. We both went Coco Gauff. I don't think it's the worst in
I
the world
wanna
because Coco did have
Actually,
a good season.
congratulate us for this one. I was going to say, not because of the Wimbledon, but because we had her winning a slam in 2023.
Yeah, we both felt that she was going to win a Grand Slam this year. It just wasn't Wimbledon. It was the one after. Vondrausova, you'd never have called it. And I think this year I'm going to just pick someone really random because I feel Wimbledon,
Yeah.
it happens. Like, you're not going to get a
Ons
top...
Jabeur?
Iga's not going to win it.
No.
She's just not. But
Doesn't
yeah, I
seem
don't know.
like
I don't know
it.
what I'm going to pick yet. I'll be honest, but I feel you do have a chance for the odd surprise.
Should have been Jabeur on that trophy, the name, I think. But she just bottled it. There's no other words to describe it. It was just one of the worst performances I've ever seen from Ons Jabeur on a tennis court, and it's just such
When
a
it
shame
mattered.
because we know that she's so much better than that.
Moving on to the next one, of course, the US Open.
Neither right. Do you pick Iga for all of them? What was going on?
I did
You
pick Iga
literally-
for all of them.
You went Iga, and then Wimbledon, Coco Gauff, and then Iga again.
That's right.
Should have
And
done
you
that
went Kim
Djokovic.
Wing-Zheng. How
Anyway,
did she
yeah.
get on at the US Open?
Well, Kim Wing-Zheng, she got to, I believe it was the quarterfinals, was it?
Yeah, quarterfinals, losing to Sabalenka, 6-1,
Better than
6-4.
Iga, if I'm right in recollecting.
And
Who
she
went out in the
also
fourth round.
She also beat Ons Jabeur.
I mean, I thought it was a good performance. I think that this is another example of the sinner. See, I've picked my US Open winners as being just maybe too soon, really. And Kim Wing-Zheng, she had 3 tournament wins in 2023. So they were her first wins, and she had a really big year out of the slams, and that was just the first time she did well in a slam. Quarterfinals of the US Open. Maybe next year's her year.
Yeah, and I feel like she didn't do too bad in the rankings. We both had her inside the top 10, but I believe she finished, was it 15th?
Yes, yeah.
Which isn't too bad. She was knocking on the door. You did go
late.
that's another one for you, though. You
Yeah,
did go
bit-
so high with a 4. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, I got carried away sometimes with these young players.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall that does conclude the women's.
Yes.
The last slide I've got is let's hope 2024 predictions are better.
Can't be worse, surely, for me.
Well, yeah, you'd hope so. I mean, that Anisimova one, let's just give it one last trombone. And I think we'll wrap it up there. We've seen some terrible ones. We've seen some okay ones. Let us know in the comment section who did better on our WTA predictions in 2023. I think Ben has already concluded. He's waving the white flag. The men's one's more up for debate. I feel like you can make a case for either. And I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. And go check out these episodes on Spotify if you don't want to look at our ugly faces and just listen. But if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you very soon because we will be doing some 2024 predictions. And I feel like I've learned a lot from these last 2 years of doing these now. Where I know exactly what to do and I know how to beat Ben because he thinks in a very strange way when it comes to consistency in tennis, and I know that I can beat him with a little bit more tennis nous.
And I'll be using eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
There we go. Shout out to Anisimova, shout out to Ben, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.